It's the third week in July and it's time for another garden update.
I'll start down here on the north end of the corn. I've got a lot to show, so hopefully I can fit it all in without taking too long. But this trellis down here is doing pretty well. We've picked a lot of cucumbers and still have a lot more to pick. It's just really producing well. This squash vine, as you can see, it's going all over the place, taking over this end. And we're finally starting to get some female squash flowers, and it looks like the roly-polies are doing some damage to that one. And I don't know if you can recognize this, probably not, just a dead looking stem. But that was one of the milkweeds I tried to transplant. And I also transplanted one over here, and it looks like it's got some new shoots coming up, so that worked out. So we'll have at least one milkweed plant over here. The naranjia is starting to bloom and grow pretty well. The corn's got quite a few ears forming on it. The corn is really doing well. This little hops plant, I accidentally broke the end off of it, and it's sending up a new vine on each leaf joint, 2 of them, so it's going to be bushy looking by the time the summer ends. And the glass gem corn is producing ears even on the suckers or tillers. It's still got some ears that are forming, and the third type of corn over there is starting to tassel, so I may cut a couple of the first ones over there, cut the tassels off so they can not pollinate the glass gem corn. Let me get out here where we can see that third type is starting to grow really well. And the glass gem corn is about 9 feet tall. The hollyhocks over here are blooming. The passion flower is starting to really grow. The beans are climbing. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you, we got beans climbing on the corn. Squash vine's trying to invade everywhere. You can see it showing its little ugly head everywhere. That's just a really fast growing squash vine. I can see now I'm going to probably have to do 2 parts on this update because I just have so much to show. And this is the tomato in the grow bag. Let me show you that. The beans back here real quick. These are the ones that are climbing on the corn. They've got little beans forming quite a few places. So it's doing pretty well. We got a couple of pretty good rains, so I have some of these ornamental peppers out of their saucers so they won't get waterlogged. But look at this sangria. It is covered with peppers. I put 3 plants in that one pot. 2 would have been enough. 1 might have been enough. The marigolds are blooming. And this is a explosive ember. Look at the little dark peppers on that. There's that petunia in the basket. It's getting invaded by the marigolds. I'm going to trim the marigolds back right there. Then here's the eggplants. Got something kind of special to show you on this one. If you look at the stem on to my right where my thumb is, it's purple. The other one where my index finger is green. Those are 2 different types of eggplants growing on this one plant. It's an Ichabod 2, and it has some fruit forming, and that's what they look like, really dark purple. And the long purple, which is the other one, is also forming fruit. So we have 2 types of eggplants growing on the same plant. And I also have another couple of grafts that I started that haven't grown all that much yet, but they've got lots of summer left. And let's take a look at the long purple. And there's a couple there I should have already had picked behind on harvesting, but it's loaded with eggplants. And I can see right now I've got a little bit of a, looks like maybe a little bit of a spider mite problem started here. I'm going to have to get on top of that. You can tell kind of by that speckling. Just now noticed that. This is a swad, A-S-W-A-D, and that's a blister beetle. I'm going to have to spray this plant. You can see it's got some fruits forming now, and it grows really big eggplants. So I've got my work cut out for me, I think, in the next few days. This one is a Matoyo, and it's got quite a bit of fruit on it. Plant's doing extremely well. It's about waist high. Here's another one down here. This is called Rosita. The foliage on it looks great. Let me show you a couple of the eggplants. They're beautiful color. Let me see, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 formed so far, and well, that one's probably already set, but it's got lots of blooms still forming. So this thing is going to be loaded with eggplant soon. There's the cucumber trellis on the fence that's just strung up to nails, and it's producing cucumbers pretty well so far. And right next to the row of eggplants are the peppers. That's a ghost pepper first, and it's going crazy. It's almost waist high. Hasn't got a pepper on it yet, but eventually it's going to be something to see. I think I've never grown a ghost pepper, and it's doing extremely well. Next to it is a poblano. It's over waist high, and it's starting to produce a few peppers. There's one of the bigger ones down here, but it's got a lot of little ones starting. And here's another interesting little plant. This is a jalapeno, and I don't remember which I grafted onto it, but just judging by the growth of it's either an Oda, an albino bullnose, or a violet sparkle, but it's just now starting to produce buds, so eventually we will have 2 types of peppers on this plant. Then we have a violet sparkle, and it's got peppers on it that, let me get on the other side. Peppers on it are starting to change to their red color, and I've read where those are much better tasting in that stage, so I'm going to let this one ripen and then taste it and see what I think. Then that's a Buena Mulata down here on the end. No peppers on it yet. There's a fish pepper. There's no fish peppers on it yet. The beans are just now starting to set on a little bit. Got some pretty good rains. I think that helped. Then we have another pepper with multiple types of pepper on it. This is the one I just did a video recently on it. It's a hybrid, I think, but it's a kind of a greenish pepper that turns purple. And then I did 2 grafts on it, and just judging by the way they look, I think this one is probably a Chinese 5 color pepper, and it's got a little pepper on it. And this, I'm pretty sure, is a Buena Mulata. No peppers on it yet, but eventually we'll have 3 types of peppers on this plant. And this one, I'm not sure of yet, but I think it's an albino bullnose, just by looking at it. I have to keep an eye on it. And this one is a Emerald Giant, And it's not doing all that great. I'm going to keep a close eye on it. It's got a pepper I should have already picked. It's got a couple of small ones there. This is the Santa Fe Grande. It's doing great. And it's still, I've harvested quite a few peppers on it, and it's still producing peppers. Then over here we have the albino bullnose. I've harvested a few peppers off of it, and it has probably about a half a dozen more. I removed some zinnias over here, and then I planted some seeds from this year's flowers to see if I could get a second generation in there, just now starting to come up. I'm kind of interested in this flower, that's why it's bagged. Then we have the carrots, and I haven't really taken care of them this year like I should. They're just kind of over here. I haven't even thinned them like they should be. But one of these days maybe I'll get caught up. That's a look at the first half of our garden update. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Otherwise, like, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.